So if you've been paying attention to the MrBeast drama that's been going on over the past couple of weeks, then you would know that he's under quite a lot of fire right now for a number of allegations that have recently come out. Now these allegations have been brought to light by Dogpack404, who was a former MrBeast employee. He dropped a really big video about the whole thing. It got around 10 million views, and I covered this in my last video, but Dogpack has uploaded yet another video where he goes over some even more serious allegations than what was in the last video. So today we're going to be talking about these allegations because it gets pretty wild. Now in Dogpack's most recent video, I worked for MrBeast, he's a sociopath. He interviews someone who worked very closely with the MrBeast team and even appeared in a number of his videos. And the stuff that he says in this video is pretty damning. But we're gonna start off with a little bit of the lighter stuff. Right now we're sipping on the twisted tea, but by the end of this video we're gonna whip out the moonshine and go over the most serious allegations. But you know what, that's kind of a dumb analogy, but anyway. First off, MrBeast, the guy that is obsessed with growing his YouTube channel by any means. Did you guys know that he's greedy? I mean, shocking revelation right there. We didn't see that one coming. But you know, Jake Weddle goes on to describe in this interview that him and another writer, and the other writer was black, apparently he got paid more than the black writer. That's crazy right there. But he goes on to describe how the two of them ended up wanting to negotiate for a pay raise, or at least some kind of extra compensation for the work that they were putting in, considering just how much revenue that was being made. And I think that's a totally sensible thing to do. But essentially, here's how that ended up playing out.
I need more money in my paycheck at the end of every week, capiche?
They were like, oh, okay, bet that then. Gave him both the severance check and fired them. And Jake Weddle goes on to describe how he felt guilty that the other guy ended up losing his job over something that was his idea.
Yeah, the other thing I talked about was there was another writer there, older comic, black guy, he had a kid, and I got paid more than him, and I thought that was wild because he was older than me, had a child, we're doing the exact same job, and I'm some 20-year-old fuckhead white guy, why am I getting paid more than him? I brought that up. And one of the things I didn't like about the way some of the Beast stuff shook out was, I was talking to this other writer, like, it's fucked up, that's how the pay is, and I want you to get paid more, because you deserve to get paid more. I don't have a kid. And he didn't want to rock the boat. He desperately didn't want to rock the boat. He's just, I like my job. I like, because when you grow up with, nothing, not to say that he did, but I know I did, You get a little something, you don't want to lose it. So he didn't want to rock the boat. But he said, hey man, if that's how you feel, if that's like, I trust you. He stood with me. He went to that meeting with me. And I said my piece, and he backed me up. And I said, I need X, Y, Z, or I'm out of here. And they said, bet. And they gave me a severance check the next day. And they gave him a severance check the next day. And if I knew he was going to lose his job too, I wouldn't have done it. Me, I was over the moon. I was like, you're going to give me a check and I get to leave? I don't get to deal with the how many Orbeez can I fit up my asshole every day, and I get to go home and you're going to pay me to leave. I was over the moon. And he was devastated. He did not want. I said he just wanted to be in the room, and I really regret that. But me and him were really still tight. We're still good friends.
But yeah, he then goes on to explain how all the charity work that MrBeast does, he really only does that to make himself look like a good guy and help boost his image.
Do you think Jimmy really enjoys doing good and helping people?
I think Jimmy wants to be the best YouTuber. I think he is laser focused on one goal. And I think whatever he has to do to achieve that goal, he'll do. And I think it was the smartest decision for him that he calculated, because he's very good with numbers. If I donate to charity, people can't say I'm shitty. If I give this homeless guy 10K, what do you mean I'm a bad guy? But I've always thought, if you're going to do something nice for somebody, and you stick a camera in their face while you do it, that you didn't do a nice thing for somebody. You gained something. There was a homeless guy on the street and you saw an opportunity for yourself and your image, and you gave one guy $10,000 who needed it to eat, and now the revenue you generated from that video is way more than what you gave. I think when he's generous on camera, it's the least authentic thing in the world.
And apparently when he vocalized his opinions on this thing, he started getting punished by being included in less and less videos. So it looks like his ego was probably pretty hurt off of that comment if he just went as far as to straight up not include the man in as many videos.
Oh, it's so good for the camera if you could. Oh, it made me uncomfortable that I was working there, and I didn't like it, and I vocalized it sometimes, and I think that's why I wasn't on camera as much as they said I was going to be. I was told at one point that I was going to be like fourth banana, you know, it was going to be Jimmy, Chris, Chandler, me, you know, and then that never happened. And I remember talking about that, like, hey, I thought my contract said XYZ. And then I got the severance checks, so, you know, whatever, all that regard.
To be honest, I could see that being true because I remember when MrBeast did a collab with this food reviewer, Keith Lee and MrBeast ended up doing a video together where the premise was that Keith Lee was going to give an unbiased opinion on MrBeast's Feastable bars. And that's exactly what he did. He did an unbiased review about the chocolate, he gave his honest opinion on them, and it looks like MrBeast was not happy with that. You can literally see in real time MrBeast's ego getting hurt.
And how would you compare that to one?
It's a little too sweet.
To live with that?
It's not bad. It is a lot sweeter than what I would like, though. 7 out of 10.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
We're still figuring it out.
That's a good start. A good starting spot, though.
All right, you know what? Let's wrap up. All right, here, I got it. Here. You're gonna like this one, right? You like salt? I mean,
love
you're a
salt.
sea salt guy. I'm gonna get rid of these.
I love salt.
No,
I want to try those.
No, you just don't. Trust me. You're a
best
dark
one?
chocolate kind of guy. Yes.
Okay.
I can read the room. The room is red.
Okay, Jimmy. Not crazy, but it is good. And when you compare it to Hershey's, absolutely. When
That's
you
all
compare
I
it to
need.
Hershey's, it is
I
good.
agree. I agree. You know, you are so right. I'm gonna slam this chair.
God bless you guys. Have an amazing day.
Can I flip the table to end it?
Do whatever you feel comfortable with.
So yeah, I wouldn't put it past him to do something like that. But yeah, now let's actually go ahead and talk about arguably the most serious thing that was exposed in this video, and that's the fact that Jake Weddle was asked to participate in a video that was basically like one of those solitary confinement challenges. Basically, he gets paid a certain amount of money for every day that he lasts. He starts out with a whole bunch of stuff, and then slowly it starts getting taken away, and that's when the challenge gets harder. But Jake Weddle was promised that the challenge wasn't going to be nearly as hard as it actually was. They were all on the phone talking about, oh, it's really not going to be that hard. First 25 days is going to be a breeze. The last 5 days is the only thing you really need to worry about, and even then, it'll be pretty easy. That's basically what they told him before he got himself into this challenge. And for one, the conditions in that video were actually horrible. The hot tub wasn't connected to any filtration system. The showers were cold as hell. The set had just been painted, so he was basically just inhaling fresh paint for the duration of the challenge. And apparently when Jake Weddle asked for the lights to be turned off during the nighttime so he could sleep, the production team literally said no because they wanted to film time lapses of him sleeping, which is literally a war crime. That's a form of torture.
And they try to make the pitch sound like it's going to be like a walk in the park. The pitch is 100 days in solitary confinement, but don't worry, like you only have to last like 30. We have like a video. They're pitching it like at first it's going to be like a luxury vacation. You're going to have like a hot tub and an ice cream machine. And like part of the video is going to be you deciding like what items am I going to get rid of, you know, today, and it's like the choice. They were like, it's only going to be bad for you to last like 5 days tops when you have like nothing left. You're the first. It's going to be like a breeze for most of it. And so I thought, well, if I have to do this, if I have to do solitary confinement in order to do the things I want to do, then I will do that. That I held my tongue and I swallowed my pride and I tried to do one last ride, I get there, and at first it's fine. And, I mean, they had just freshly painted the set. You could smell it, you know? Which, that's probably not good, you know, the smell of fresh paint in your surroundings for the next XYZ time. It looked good on the visual. It looks good on camera. You know, it's movie magic bullshit. It was a terrible facility. I mean, it was in one of the studios. They had to, like, get, like, a separate, like, tank for, you know, septic stuff. Yeah, there was a hot tub in it. Yeah, there was an ice cream machine. Like, things were cool and funny on paper. But when you think about stuff, a hot tub that's not connected to a filtration system, give it 3 days, it's gonna stink. You know, there's not a hot water mechanism, so the hot tub was a lukewarm tub at best, which was a silly complaint, but the shower was always cold, and you're taking like a quick shower, and I had cameras 24/7 on me, and it got to a point where, like, they weren't turning the lights off. You know, I asked them, I said, can we like have like nighttime hours? You know, And they said no, because it would fuck up the time-lapse shots. The time-lapse of what? Me sleeping? Or me not sleeping?
They were literally willing to torture this man just to get some random time-lapse shots. And to rub salt in the wound, apparently one of those days, MrBeast ended up pulling up, and he asked the director to ask Jake Weddle to lie and say how thankful he was to be able to pay off his student debt.
You know, and then Jimmy would come in, like, every other day for like an hour, you know, to check in on me because he's doing other stuff. You know, I'm just the guy in the cage over here. He'll come back to me in a minute. And so he'd come by, he'd get the shots, he'd leave. Sometimes he'd have a note for the director over the phone. That would really piss me off. This is a note I got from the director, from Jimmy, when I'm receiving some cash. He said, Jimmy said, can you say to the camera how thankful you are that now you can pay back your student loans? You know how hard it was to do a take of that? And pretend to make it genuine? I don't want to have student loans. I don't want to be in a cage. But Jimmy's the guy with the money, and if you do what he says, he'll do what you want. You want your student loans paid off? You just be in this cage. And you have power over people. When one person doesn't have resources and the other one does, and they hold it over your head, and you go, of course, yeah, I agreed to it.
So yeah, long story short, there were not good enough conditions for Jake Weddle to actually complete this challenge, and he ended up having to bail out of it because of some really bad mental health problems that he ended up getting from this. It was so bad that when describing the whole situation in the interview, he almost started breaking down crying. Well, not almost, he did just straight up start crying because of this. Which goes to show that participating in one of these MrBeast challenges that don't end up getting posted on YouTube is probably so goddamn traumatic and can give people PTSD. Like, imagine putting someone in solitary confinement, never turning off the lights just to get some better footage, having the worst possible conditions in the set, and then taking advantage of the fact that the guy needs money, so obviously he's going to participate in the challenge. And so after Jake Weddle ended up bailing out of the challenge due to some serious mental health problems that he got from it, one, he was only compensated for the amount of time that he actually spent and participated in the challenge, even though he had to bail out because of the conditions that the production team themselves put him through, which was something that was completely out of his control. And so Jake Weddle goes on to explain a conversation that he had with MrBeast after this whole thing, and from his point of view, he says that MrBeast did that fake sympathy thing, pretending to care about the guy's mental health, and according to Jake Weddle, he almost said, "We don't want to get sued."
He was sitting in the chair, turned around like an evil villain. Swear to God, everyone was looking at me, and he was like Lex Luthor over there. He turns around, he stands up. He does the exact same thing when he's pretending to have a human connection. You know when you're watching a video and he's like, "Oh, stop, you're gonna make me cry," and he like touches his eye or whatever as if he's crying. He's just. I didn't have to pretend to do that shit. She says, as if rehearsed by his lawyers. Yeah, you know. Your mental health's the most important thing. You know, just want to make sure you're okay. And the last thing we want you to do is... I can almost hear the word Sue come out of his mouth. The S. He just stopped right before it got out. He goes, think of it this way. At least you get to keep what you earned.
But yeah, there's also a couple more allegations in this video, not just Jake Weddle and the horrible shit that he went through. So Dogpack ends up sharing a Google Doc in this video, a Google Doc called How to Succeed in MrBeast Production, and one of the terms that they have is no does not mean no, which is a crazy headliner any way that you want to put it, but I'm just gonna show you guys the clip.
When dealing with people outside MrBeast Productions, never take no at face value. If we need a store to buy everything inside of, and you can call the local Dollar Tree, and the person that answers says, no, you can't film here, that literally doesn't mean shit. Talk to other employees and see if they are fans or if any have kids that are fans. Try talking to their boss's boss. Have me DM them on Twitter and try their social team. If all avenues are exhausted and you are left with a no, that doesn't mean don't try the other Dollar Trees because the manager of those could be huge fans and willing to bend the rules. Basically what I'm trying to convey is what we call pushing through no. Don't stop because one person told you no. Stop when all conceivable options are exhausted. This is one of many tools that when combined dramatically improve your probability of success when producing here.
So MrBeast is basically encouraging his workers to be manipulative and do whatever they can in order to do what MrBeast wants. And obviously if they can't do that, then they have the threat of losing their job. So they're going to try their hardest to play by MrBeast's rules. And his entire company's premise is basically just promoting shady business practices. Yeah, now let's actually move on to MrBeast apparently not cleaning up any of the filming sets that he ends up trashing. So you guys know this video right here, protect the yacht, keep it. At the end of this video, MrBeast explicitly states that they ended up cleaning everything.
And if you're wondering, yes, we did ensure the lake was completely cleaned up after this video. For the love of God, subscribe so we can pass T-Series.
Well, that's actually not true. There was a lot of trash and debris that ended up getting left over from this video, and apparently now, even to this day, there's still a lot of debris in that lake.
Yeah, so he says at the end of the video that they made sure it was cleaned up. I was actually on site for part of this production. I was at this camp. So I decided to send an email out to the camp, basically saying, hey, I heard these rumors, I'm investigating a similar incidents. And the camp responded, actually not denying the claims, going on to say, I am sure that there are no perfect film productions, just as there are no perfect people. I am grateful for the opportunity that we had to host the production crew, and because grace, or forgiveness, has been offered to me so freely, I will choose to offer the same. So clearly alluding to the fact that there was a wrongdoing by MrBeast's production team. And that's like sort of the thing is, if you're around Greenville, you know these stories of people working with MrBeast and it being extremely unprofessional, them not doing what they say, but they sort of get by a lot on their good public image. And like, I mean, this camp offered to host them completely for free. And I guarantee, like, if you went to the lake at the camp and you went magnet fishing, like you'd find all sorts of debris that's still there to this day. Like, they didn't clean it all up.
But yeah, in this video, Dogpack also very briefly goes over some other serious allegations of a bunch of female contestants that participated in MrBeast videos, and them getting sleep deprived and some of the cameramen wanting to bang them. There's a third video coming out from Dogpack that's probably gonna go a little bit more into detail about this thing. But yeah, to put it short, it really is not looking good for MrBeast's reputation. It's actually crazy just the amount of stuff that's coming out about this thing, and we still have yet to watch part 3, so it looks like this drama is only gonna get more interesting. Hopefully MrBeast can eventually respond to all these allegations. He's probably just waiting for the third part to come out. It'd be ass if he just completely ignored all of this stuff and just went on making content like nothing ever happened. But yeah, I strongly recommend for everyone to go watch Dogpack's video on the whole thing, because I basically just briefly summarized what was in that video, and there were a few things in that video that I wasn't able to get to and talk about, so I'm gonna leave it in the description. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. New video tomorrow. I'm out of here.